Hi everyone, welcome back to my pattern making class. In this tutorial today, I am going to demonstrate to you how to make a pleated peplum waist belt, and this is what it looks like. I am going to open it out so you can have a look at what the side seam and the center back looks like. So this is the actual this is a side seam. Center back also has the same type of fold and formation, and the reason why it's not a full, like say, 360-degree peplum or 720 is because it's not a full circle. I did use pleats in this one. Okay, all right, so what I use, and then I have the back is closed using a hook and eye, two hook and eyes, because I made my belt, the width of my belt, the finished width of the belt is literally 2.5 inches as opposed to the 1.25 inches that we usually finish a waistband. All right, so that's what I did. So first thing, what I normally do when I'm making anything with pleats, that sort of piece, pleat or so, I usually try to form out what I'm trying to get a picture of what I'm trying to do first. And I have my measurements on here. So I'll have a 4.5 down at the side seam. I want a 4 inches and the difference here. So it's best if you do something like this where you draft it on a piece of paper to get a visual with the numbers and how you're going to form the pleats. Okay, so I'll put this right here, and then what I'm going to do next, I'm going to get my paper. So I just need a piece of paper right here, and I'm going to trace out all of this, so I can pull this back. I'm going to trace out my skirt pattern, and yes, I'm using a skirt pattern, not a sloper, because the sloper doesn't have the seam allowances. I'm going to first create my center front line, right? So my center front, so I can place it on there. So I'm placing it on my hair, and I am going to trace this out. Okay, so I'm lining it up with my line that I had, and this is optional, you don't have to mark it, but I'm doing this as a guide. This is my hip line. All right, but one thing you must do is put where your dart is going to end. So I'm going to trace along the waistline. Remember, it already has this seam allowance, so this is a skirt pattern. All right, trace along here. I mark my dart measurement, the end of my dart here. I want to go over an inch to spread it. So what I'll do, I'll just go over an inch about here, anywhere from that line, 1 inch over to spread it. And what I'm going to do next, I have my my mark here for my dart. I need to close it, and I'm going to spread this. So I'm going to spread it to where, see your dart ending here, spread it to where, anywhere where it ends on the line, but make sure that you are connecting it to the other the dart. Okay, with it right there. Okay, that's good enough. All right, and I have this here now, so all you have to do is just continue to, so this is you just closing the dart. All right, and about spreading the tip of it a little bit. So that's what I did. I just spread it a little bit. You don't really need this mark here, but I'm still going to put it the hip line. I'm still going to put it for argument's sake, because most of my measurements are not going to go beyond this point. Okay, so if you want, you can now see that this was my original dart line right here, right? And I spread it to about that much, and this is me. You can do the slash method. If you didn't spread it like that, all you have to do after you've closed it and you have your mark here, you slash here and spread it open, and then you retrace around that pattern. Okay, so now, because remember, I have my seam allowances here, which is an inch, which is ½ inch. All around my seam allowance is half an inch. So what I'm going to do, based on what I have here, because as I said, it's good to work with a draft and form it out on your pattern. So what I need to do now, I need to go down 4.5 inches at the center front. All right, 4.5 inches at the center front. You can draw a square line going across. All right, temporary square line going across, that much. I need 4 inches on the side seam. So my sides, I'm going to form up my seam allowance here, my side seam. 4 inches down. Okay, so I need 4 inches down here, along here. So it's going to take me to here. What you need to do now, okay, that's my mark. You can use, I'm going to use this purple line. All right, and all you have to do is just simply connect it like this. All right, just like that. All right, so you have this is this line that you have here, right? That's this line. And then I need to decide, let's show it to you. Sometimes visual is much better. So here it is. So I need this piece here. So I need to come in, I mean, this is already made, but I'm just showing you how to make the pattern in now. 1.75 to 2 inches. 2 inches is fine to come in from this the side seam. So 2 inches from the side seam, right? 2 inches from the side seam, just about there. And what I need to do now, I'm going to come in also about 1/2 inch at from the side seam at the waistline here. So I need to come in and because I don't want it to touch at, I mean, if you can do 1/2 inch or you can do 1/4 inch, it's fine. It's up to you which one you rather, but I'll say I'll do this one. 1/2 inch is fine. You draw a line coming down. All right, that's just you forming it out. And then the next thing you need to do is form the other piece, which is this piece right here, this line. Okay, you need to draw that line. I would say I would draw it. Actually, I need about 4 inches here from wherever this is, 4 inches over. So that's fine. You can actually use a dart line. It doesn't matter. You can use a dart line if you want, but just straighten it out. Okay, so but if you straighten it out, notice it's not going to hit. It's going to hit like that. So what I'm actually going to do, since I'm using a dart line, it's going to go back a little bit. I can do this much, close enough to the dart line. All right, and you don't have to be straight, as I said before. You just make it long enough. Actually, I should have used a different color, but that's fine. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to drop this one about 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches to 1.5 inches. I'll say 1.5 inches down from here. Right. Drop that and then go another inch, say 1.75 inches down. You could do 1.75 inches down. Now this is where you're going to shape this out, okay? Because you need this 3 inches down from there. So that's the 3-inch mark right here. 3 inches down. And you're simply going to do this. All right? Because this is where it's going to take the fold. All right? 3 inches down. Okay? But all right, and then what I'm going to do next, I need to do another one. All right, well, notice it didn't follow this one, and that is fine. It's up to you. You can just leave it as that, or you can shape this some more and take this up a little bit. It's up to you, but I think this is fine. Or you can just drop this a little bit more than 3 inches, and you can go maybe 4 inches or so. All right, I just need 1.75 inches from here down. All right, I have my 1 3/4 there, and then I can just form this now. I will need to do 5 pieces, so I can use this and do this. Okay, so this is pretty much what we have. Now the next thing that we need to do now is, because I need to get the full pattern of this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to trace and fold. All right, I'm going to trace and fold. So I have this piece of paper here. I'm going to place it on my center front like this. Okay, I'm going to line it up. All right, line it up on your center front like that. I'm going to use my weights here. I'm going to put my tracing, well, I can see through my lines because I'm using the dotted paper. So once I can see through my lines like this, I can do this. Otherwise, you can use your tracing paper and you can trace and as you go along. So I'm going to line up, I can see some of my, most of it. So I'm going to use my tracing paper now, okay? And I'm going to trace through those original lines that I have there. That's what I'm going to do right now. Okay? So, oh, sorry. I have to put it the other way. I just realized I have to put it the other way. Yes, things like this happens to the most of us at times. Okay, so this is my center front here. Okay, and I am going to place this weight right here. All right, and I'm going to place my tracing paper underneath like this, and I am going to form this out. So I'm going to trace along here. Okay. If you had enough paper with you, you could have, do it where, okay, because you have the side seam here, then you'll be able to form your pleat as you go along. So you could have done that also. All right. As a matter of fact, I just realized I can't trace it this way because guess what? I'm not going to get the side seam in a sense. So I need to trace not this under piece in a sense. What I need to do, I need to move this down towards the middle of the paper because I need to have this part on the fold. Okay, so let me explain, because and we're all humans and sometimes we start off and then we forget to do certain things. So what I would suggest that you do here is you fold this back like this. You have this in this manner, right? This, what I'll suggest, because you need the center front and you need this part to go that way and come back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with my side seam over here and mark it up to my line. Okay, so I can do that. So with my ruler, looking for my ruler. So I'm going to, so I have my side seam here. I know I have to stop here. So this is fine enough because it's going to be one piece of fabric, and I'm going to explain that to you in a little bit when I get to that part. All right. So just follow me, bear with me. Sorry, we're not using that as center front. Just remember, this is our center front line. I'm going to trace this out. All right. Underneath, I'm going to trace it out because I need to have my side seam and my, so I'm going to have my side seam. I'm going to place my weight here, and I am going to trace using my tracing wheel, and I'm going to trace along the lines right here. I already have my seam allowance in here. Afterwards you can go back, take off your to find your sewing line. All right, so I have this. I'm tracing along my seam allowance and my side seam for this one. Okay, I can also trace this line, and I'm going to do it. I'm tracing this line where it's folded because I'm going to need that line. Okay, and I can also trace this one. Okay, and then I don't even have to do that now, but I can do it afterwards. Okay, so I need my this mark, or this line I should say. Notice that, and I'm going to put this for my notch right here. So I remember to do my notch. Notice that because I did my curve right here, right, my spread is no longer this 1 inch wide anymore. It's probably about 3/4 of an inch by now. Let's see. Yeah, 7/8, almost 7/8. Okay, between 3/4 and 7/8, which that's what it is. Okay. All right, so I have that. Okay, so I know this is my my lines here. What I can do now, I'm going to fold this right here along the center front line, and because I folded that, I am going to fold my paper up to that line. Let me make that line more pronounced. I'm not sure if you're seeing that line, so let me make it brighter so you'll be able to see it. Okay, so I'm going to fold up to here. All right, just like this. Fold up to here. All right, so I have that. Then remember the other line that I drew, which is this one. I'm going to make it brighter also, but I'm going to use a different color. All right. So now I should be able to see that line from here. Not sure if I'm going to be able to see through. You can use a tracing paper and the tracing wheel to do it if you want. And I'm going to, and now this is it. See, this is the line right here. Okay. So what I need to do now, remember that I have the line right here. So what I can do now, one of two things. Simply get the draft that you had, this one. But we need to remember or know where our, let's mark this out so we're able to see through. All right, you can actually do it this way because you'll be able to see from here. All right. So what I will do now, because we already have our seam allowance added to this, you don't have to worry about anything. You can cut like this. All right. And you know that this is your side seam that you will be cutting right here. So we just cut through the waistline. All right. And first, I always tell you, do your notch. So this is your notch right here for as a guide for joining everything. You can notch through all three pieces, and then you need to have a notch right here for the pleat, the folding of the pleat. Okay, so you have a notch right here for the folding of the pleat. We need to form out the other one, so I'm going to turn this over now and follow this line that I have here because it was already traced out. So I can just use my curve rule and go back and trace this one. But I don't need this one. I just need the one, this one pretty much. Oh, I didn't mark that one. So what you can do, since it wasn't marked out. So this is what I have here. Okay, notice. All right. There's my pattern there. I have it over it. Okay, I can use my weights to hold it down for the moment. And then what I'll suggest you can do, if you don't want to mark on this, that's fine, but I would suggest that you use your tracing wheel and your tracing paper and trace this over. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay. And then for this one also, I'm going to trace that. All right, and you should have this line here. But just in case you don't have that line, I just did that for you. Now, you can lift that up. See the marks here? So what I need to do now, I need to add my 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I need my 1/4 inch seam allowance here. All right. And I need to have it on this side also. And I need to add it here. Just use 1/4 inch for your seam allowance. All right. And just take out that kink that you see in there, little piece. All right. So what all you have to do now, you can cut this off first. All right. It wasn't really necessary for the notch, the top notch, but that is you know, fine with the top notch. Okay. I would suggest what you do is this part right here. You cut it from now, since you cut it through all pieces, just to get up to this point. Okay, right there, you have that, and you can now open this out. So this is the one that's going to cut all the way down to here. Open this out. That's your seam allowance right there. You notice now, because now you open this out, this is your fold line. All right, and I'm going to create a line here, even though it was folded, but by putting the pattern paper down, you can just lose your mark. All right, so that was a folded line. We need to, this was our line, traced line. We add our 1/4 inch seam allowance around the edge of it. All right, that's the part that's going to the side seam. Okay, and then this was the other part. Now we have it like this, and we need to have this part underneath. So this is the line, or this was a line, I should say, right here. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to follow that, and I am going to continue with that, and I'll be able to cut this through. All right, and you cut it off once you cut this through. All right. And this is what you have now. This is the center front, which is on the fold, and this is also when you're actually making the thing. It's not placing on the fold with laying it out. What you need now, you need 2 pieces of this fabric. So I'm going to create my green line here. Do not use place it on the fold. No, because, and I'm going to show you, we have all the dart the pleats going on, so we need times 2 pieces, times 2 fabric. All right, because this is the front, and for the lining you can use the same fabric, or you can do times 1 and times 1 for the lining, whatever lining you're using. Okay, now the back is pretty much the same concept. You're going to do the same thing for the back, as you can see the back here, but and the back also has a center back fold, and also it's just the reverse pretty much, but because your back pattern is usually sometimes maybe 1/2 inch bigger than the front pattern in some cases, or the waist, then you will, or otherwise you could have used this and shape it out the same way, but it's best not to. Just trace out the back and repeat the steps. Form it out first, get a picture, a draft of what it looks like, and then you should be good. Now for the waistband, what I already did for the waistband for you, waistband you finish with is 2.5 inches. You take in your waist measurement, use your waist measurement, you're adding an inch extra for the overlap, I would say, and then you will need another 1/2 inch on either side of that, so it's a total of 2 inches you're adding to your waist measurement. So if your waist measurement is say 28, then you're adding 2 inches, 30, but you couldn't cutting it on fold, so it's going to be 15 by this is 3.5 inches because actually no, this is not 3.5 inches. This is 6 inches because when it's finished, remember when it's finished, it's going to be 2.5 inches because I said it's going to fold here like this. So 2.5 and 2.5, that's 5 inches, and then a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, 1/2 inch seam allowance there. That's 6 inches wide. So this actually is your waist measurements, waist plus your 2 inch for your overlap and your seam allowance, and times 6 inches wide. Okay, so that's what your actual pattern drafting share. Put it on fold, half of your waist measurement on fold. Okay, when you put it on fold. If you're not putting it on fold, it's just the full length plus the 2 inches. Okay, so that's it for today, and hope you will enjoy your peplum pleated belt. Okay, and see you soon. Bye now.